Hello and welcome everyone. Today you will see how you can use the RSC Magic Tool to prepare the resource and rules by the third method. In the first two videos I explained how you can use the method number one to prepare the resources and rules from the completed projects or from the current projects and import them directly to Primavera from Excel. And in the second method I explained how you can use the RSC Magic Tool to prepare the resources and rules from the diagrams. You can draw the one diagram for the resources and another one for the rules, and then you can export these diagrams directly to Primavera, or you can complete the information of the resources and rules by using these two options. The RSC Magic Tool will prepare one table for resources and the other table for rules, and then you can complete the data and also import them directly to Primavera. In this example, the third method can be used by inserting two sheets, one for the resources and the other for the rules. As we see, we can insert one empty table for the resources and another one for rules, and then you can complete the data and also import them directly to Primavera from Excel. We have inserted one table for the resource and another one for the rules. In the resources sheet you will find three tables: the first one for the resources and their information, and the other the second table for the resources and the maximum units and the standard rates, and in the third table you will find the resource rules assignments. In the rules sheet, this table for the rules and their information, and the second table will be for the rules and their maximum units and effective area. Let us start with our example. We will fill in this information to FAST and then export them to Primavera. For the resources, let us have these resources. We have 5 main categories: engineers, foremen, laborers, equipments, materials, and under engineers we have these resources and these for foremen, and then these for laborers, and we have these resources as example for the equipments, and these resources example for materials. For the resource ID, let us start with these 5 main IDs, and we will start the resource ID with R for the resource and L for labor, E equipment, M materials. This will be the 5 main IDs for these 5 categories, and then we will use these IDs for the other resources. For the parent ID, the first main resources have no parent, and for the engineers we will use this parent. This is the same resource ID for the engineers, and then this ID will be the parent of the foreman. This is the same value of the foreman, and then we will use this parent for labor, this parent for equipments, and this parent for the materials. For the resource type, we will use the values. If we have any comment at the top of the column, you should use these values. You cannot use any other values. These are the values that can be used by Primavera. For labor, for equipment, and for material, we use this type for labor, and then for equipment, and then material. For the unit of measure, we have no unit of measures for labors and equipments, but we have this unit of measure for the materials. And so on, you can complete the table. For the primary rule, these are the primary rules for these resources, and these rules must be found in the rules table. For the default units, we will use these values, and we will use hour for the price time units. And then for email addresses, employee ID, these are the information of these resources. For the office phone, and then overtime factor for these resources. Overtime, if allowed or not, you can use these values only yes or no. And then for the other phones, these are the mobile numbers for these resources, and this yes for active, how to complete actuals, calculate costs from units, resource notes or titles. You can complete this data. The RSC Magic Tool will use these two extra columns to help you fill in these two tables for the unit rates of the resources. You can use this column, and for the resource rules assignment you can use this table. Let us use these numbers. We have two unit rates for each resource, and also we have two rules for each resource. You can change these numbers according to your project requirements, and then you can use the RSC Magic Tool to fill in these values by using these two options. This for the unit rates, use this option. As you see now, you have two unit rates for each resource, and for the rules you can use this option to complete the. You can use this option for the rules. As you see now, the RSC Magic Tool has filled in these values. You have now two rules for each resource. Now you can complete this data. For example, we have these maximum units, and we have these effective dates, and this will be the standard rates. We have two rates for each resource. The first rate will be effective in this date, and the other unit rate will be effective in this date, and so on for all of these resources. If you have any data here, you can fill in this data. For the rules, we will use the rules in the rules table, and we will start with the rules table, and then we will fill in these rules here in the resources table. Let us go to the rules table, and we have these rules. For example, three main categories: engineers, foremen, labor, and then these rules under engineers, these rules under foremen, and these rules will be under labor. And for the rule ID, we use this RO to start the rule ID, and we will use this suffix 1000. For the parent, we will use this rules ID. We have no parent for the these three rules, the three main rules, and then we will use this parent for the engineers, and this parent for the foreman, and this parent for the labor. These three parent will be the same like the three main categories here of the rules. For the price time units, we will use hour, and then calculate costs from units, and responsibilities. If you have any responsibilities, you can fill in these responsibilities, and then standard rate. We will use these rates for these rules, and you can complete this data or let them blank. For the changes in the maximum units, also the RSC Magic Tool will use this extra column to complete or to fill in this table. We will use these changes in the maximum units, only one change in the maximum units, and we will use this to learn about how you can use the RSC Magic Tool in this column. We will use two maximum units for the labor resource, or for the labor rule. Let us complete this table by using this option. Now we have these rules, and we have two maximum units for the labor, as we put number 2 here. And for the maximum units, let us use these numbers. For the labor, we have 100 and 200, and for the effective date, it will be 1 April, and in labor we have 2 effective dates. Okay, we will use these rules to complete the resources table. As you see, we will use here, we will complete the rules here, these are the rules of these engineers, and for foremen, and then for labor. These rules must be found in the rules table, and for the efficiency, let us use these efficiencies, and for the resource type, these are all labor. You can change the display, the format of the display from this option. This is the resource name. For example, if I would like to put the IDs, not the names, I can use this option. This is number 3. I search for number 3, and then this is for name. For ID, I can use this value to change the display of this column. As you see now, we have the IDs of the resources. We can use also this option, and now we have the names with the IDs, and we can go back to the names only by using this option. As you see now, we have only the names of the resource. You can also change here by using the same option. This is number 4. I can go here. Now this is by name. This is the current option. And for IDs, now we have the rules in IDs, and now we have the rules in their names and also IDs. We can go back to the name only from this option, and so on. Now we are ready to export this file to Primavera by using these 3 options. You can export the resources from this option and the rules from this option, and you can export both resources and rules from this option. Let us export the file to Primavera. Okay. The resource file has been prepared, and we will go to Primavera and import this file. We will import this file as resource, and then let us search for this file. This is our file. Next, and then finish. The resources and rules have been imported to Primavera in a few seconds, and these are all information that we have prepared in Excel. As you see, the main 5 categories: engineers, foremen, laborers, and then we have the other 2 resources, equipments, and then materials. And all information have been imported exactly as we have prepared in Primavera. For the rules, let us see the rules. These are the rules that we have prepared in Primavera. And let us for the labor, for example, for labor we have 2 categories, 2 maximum units, one in April and the other in October. These are the rules that we have prepared and the resources that we have prepared in Primavera. And this was the 3rd method by using the RSC Magic Tool to prepare the resources and the rules. If you have any question or comments, I will be very happy to answer these questions. Until we meet in the next videos, thank you and goodbye.